Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is Phil Jones coming to you live for some Reading Smoke, the next generation. We're going to be talking today about a couple of videos. So if you are regular on the SBSK post, the website, the Facebook site, you know I post every week there. This week I accidentally posted last week's video. So I was able to post today's video or yesterday's video today. So we'll be talking briefly about both those videos. One's from San Diego, California, and the other one is from Spokane, Washington. All right, so what we're going to do is just give everybody a couple of minutes to log in to the YouTube live and get a lot of viewers going here. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Phil Jones. I'm retired deputy chief out of the Seattle Fire Department. And now I live in Pocatello, Idaho, and I've got my contact information here on the front page. So if you want to get a hold of me, send me an email, check out my website, whatever it is. Looking forward to that, seeing you online and seeing you here. As with any of the Reading Smoke stuff, we want to think about a couple of different things. When I started teaching this class after Dave Dodson asked me to come on board to teach it, renamed it the Next Generation for a couple reasons. One, the next generation would be me, right? I'm the next generation of instructor. There's another generation of instructors coming on with Dave's blessing and his support to learn the curriculum and become good at teaching it. Another way to look at the next generation is the idea that it's the next generation of the program. We're starting to really get a lot of video that's new and current, trying to introduce the ideas of what's happening at UL and NIST and really get the program going. There's a couple ways that that's happened. I'll talk to at least a couple of those during the time that we have today. And third is you, the student. You're the next generation of student that may or may not have had Reading Smoke. A lot of older senior firefighters have seen Reading Smoke at one point in time or another. Dave was teaching it for over 2 decades. But the next generation coming up, the YouTube generation, the Facebook, internet, Instagram generation, we're trying to reach you and give you the skills necessary to read smoke, because reading smoke is a skill. All right, so that's what we're doing with this YouTube. But let's go ahead and make sure you're using the comments and stuff, and we'll be moving on. So some of the things that we're thinking about when we look at reading smoke is these 3 points. Smoke is fuel, and the new normal, and what are the ignition trigger points, right? So when we look at the idea of smoke as fuel, several of my SBSK points posts cover the idea of smoke as fuel. When we talk about the next generation, this idea of the new normal, point number 2, that's another thing that we want to, the old version or the original version of Reading Smoke, point number 2 was fuels have changed. You know, we're trying to get across the message today and in the future is that what we see in fire behavior is the new normal. It's not rapid, it's not extreme, it's what you should expect. And we'll talk some about trigger points as we go along, right? So let's get right to the, as when I'm doing my class in person, I like to get right to video. So we're going to get right to the first video we're going to talk about today. This video is from San Diego Fire Department, and the purpose of this video going in was to be able to predict what would happen over the course of your arrival and deployment at a fire. Now, with this video, I have to point out that the first in hand line, the bail on the nozzle broke. I mentioned that in my Facebook post, so there will be no water applied to this. But if you think about it, instead of what's happening with the firefighters are already there, think about when you arrive at a location, one of the things that reading smoke can help you do is be able to look at a fire in its current state, read the volume, velocity, density, color of smoke, that VVDC that we always go back to, right? Inventory those attributes, and then apply those to the current situation. And by learning to predict, we want to know what the fire state is now. What does our deployment model look like in your fire department? How long to have the first line operating, whether you're operating from a uh, if you have enough people to be operating interiorly, if you're going to operate exterior, where's the first operation going to take place? And also, how long before that, from the time that you go psh with your air brake till you go psh with your nozzle? What's that time element in your fire department? And be able to match the prediction of the fire behavior from reading smoke to your understanding of your operational pace of your fire department. So let's just watch the video all the way through. If you have some comments online, that's great. If not, we're going to just go back and talk about a few things, but let's just watch it all the way through one time. All right, so that's over the course of about 2 minutes of video. We can see here at the end, we definitely have a high volume, high velocity, turbulent. I mean, look at the turbulence in this smoke. As we're looking at it, we can see well outside the fire area, still churning and giving off a lot of energy, not only on this side, but also on the back. So high volume, turbulent, thick black smoke. And this is in addition to enough fire here to be probably, what, 15, 20, 30 feet out of the building with this residual smoke left over. Sometimes if we have a really nice clean mix where we have a good fire, but there's enough oxygen available, you will see almost no smoke here, but there's so much fuel being created that even after burning with the oxygen available, so from some pretty good ventilation, you're definitely seeing some thick black smoke still. Right, so we want to be able to do and recognize that had they put water on this fire, that, like I said, the first line broke, they would have gone in, made a left, went right up the stairs, and been putting water on this fire in no time flat. Had the nozzle not broke, it would have been a textbook example of a fire attack from this era, which is about 15 to 20 years ago. Right, but if we look at the difference between here at this 208 mark, and let me drag it back to the 108 mark. So right in here. So we want to be able to do is, like, let's say you're going to have a 1 minute deployment model and you arrived right now. What would be your choice of hand line at this point in time, right? Would you pick the hand line at this point in time, a strategy? Would your tactical deployment at this moment, if it was going to take you 1 minute to get that first line in operation, is this reflective? If we go that 1 minute forward, You say, is this the fire that you would have expected within 1 minute? And there's multiple examples. I put a couple of them on the SBSK site over the course of time. But this is, when we talk about the next generation of reading smoke, this is the new normal. And even those videos from 10 or 15 years ago, we want to say that when fire has enough ventilation, it'll go off to the races in a very, very short period of time. Right, so we can see the indicators here. Yeah, do we have plenty of um, volume of smoke? Sure. Is there plenty of velocity? Yeah, look at, not only do we have good velocity here with fire coming out the door, or the window, I mean, you also have, even though there's a wind condition, you have fire or smoke pushing out against the wind condition over here. So we have high volume, high velocity, turbulent smoke. Right? Is it pretty dense? Yeah, I would say, it's hard. You can't see through it really. And with the total volume, right? And then the color is some white, some preheating and stuff like that going on relatively quickly, transitioning all the way to this very dark gray or black smoke, right? So it's a very clear indicator that we have a lot of the conditions available to have this condition 1 minute later, right? So if we go all the way back to the beginning, we can see here that those conditions existed even 2 minutes before. But like I said, by the time they had this knot ladder up, the line is stretched, and they would have normally anticipated water being applied within probably 10 or 15 seconds of this operation going on right here. Okay. So that's our reading smoke. This was from 2 weeks ago, and I accidentally posted this video again yesterday. And if you have any questions or comments about these videos, don't go ahead and put them into the comments, and I'll try to get to them as we're working. If you see me looking up from the video here, that's what I'm doing, is I'm checking the comments and that sort of thing. Right. So as a student of the game, of the craft of firefighting, what we want to be able to do is to learn these skills of identifying the four attributes: volume, velocity, density, color, getting a quick read on those, right? Being able to predict where the fire is, where it's going, and what we're going to do about it. And this new normal that came along with the next generation of the reading smoke curriculum is what we're talking about here, is that ability to predict. Now, the other video we're going to watch today is also a prediction video. It's from the Spokane Fire Department. But as we move towards that, let's go back to this PowerPoint for just a minute and talk about what we're talking about here was the new normal and being able to predict, right? When we look at the smoke is fuel and what we're trying to predict, this is one of the slides from the class. We do use probably do use a few slides in a full day class of reading smoke, but this is one of them. We look at these ladder fuels, and ladder fuels I think are particularly prescient now for any of us who certainly live in the West, where this term is really taken from the wildland environment, where we have grasses leading to small bushes, leading to small trees, leading to big trees. And when we look at the correlation to what we have in our smoke, and we can see these gases and aerosols, right, from that are in the smoke: acrolein, fuel oil, benzene, hydrogen cyanide, and carbon monoxide, right? Those are present in every single fire that we go to, and they have these ignition temperatures that range in a ladder from 450 all the way up to 1128 for the carbon monoxide, excuse me. Right, so we want to recognize this, that as the smoke, which has got this fuel package in it, the thicker the smoke is, the more of this fuel package is in it, right? Smoke is fuel, and we don't want to be swimming in hot fuel because we don't want the fuel to light off. But as each of these temperatures get hit, as we hit 450 and the acrolein starts to light off, and we see those little bursts of flame maybe in the smoke, what you're seeing is that stuff lighting off, but also recognize that it's adding temperature, right? So each one of those releases its energy, raises the temperature of the smoke, raises it to that next level, to that next level, to that next level, creating a ladder effect and a rapid increase in both smoke velocity as the smoke heats up, but also the potential for the smoke to light off. Right. So as we're thinking about the entire package of fuels, we just want to be aware of this ladder fuel concept and the way it's going to impact us on the fire ground, particularly when we're in a fire building. All right, so let's look at the next video we have going for today, which was the one I originally had meant to post to SBSK on Wednesday. I did post it this morning. Hopefully you guys have, everybody's had a chance to see it. And what we're going to do here is, this is from the Spokane, Washington Fire Department. I'm going to make myself just a little bit smaller here as we look at the still photo here. We want to think about the volume, velocity, density, color as we're looking at this fire building. Now, obviously, we have a very obvious fire in the front of the second floor apartment, right? It's no secret that there's a fire in the front of this apartment. And if you pulled up here first, it wouldn't probably take you very long to think about what is your primary action going to be. Right, in this case, they're going to go through the front door. You can see they're already operating. They're already stretching a line. They're getting us water supplies already underway, and firefighters in full protective equipment are at the front door getting ready to go in. Okay, but just from this still photo here, we can see the really high volume of thick black smoke, turbulent here. And a lot of this is being consumed by this fire. So this column is not as big as it might otherwise be. But even the still photo, we can start to see a little pressure out of here. And we're going to watch this video for a little bit. And I want you to take stock of the volume, velocity, density, color, and check out what's going on this second floor apartment. We'll see what we can know about the fire behavior and the fire condition in floor 2 just from watching the video. Okay, you see that smoke coming out the back side there? And a little more smoke now showing out of this window right here. This was the first time I posted this video. This was the section I posted. And what we can tell here is that we know that because we have so much volume and velocity back here, turbulent smoke, thick black smoke, and a pretty good volume of it coming out, the wind is making it so it's blowing away. It's only occasionally viewable here. But we know that the door to this room is open, and then it's got clear access to some sort of open window or door at the back of this apartment. Okay, so we want to start thinking about that. It's like, okay, the fire now has access to most of the unit. Now there's some smoke coming out of here that could either be the door is open to that room, or it could be forcing itself through the cracks and seams around and then coming out. But some pretty good pressure to force it out around the cracks and seams. My best guess would be that the door to this room is also open, and what we sort of don't know is what's going on with this one here, right? So we can say, well, look, they're going to come in here, they're going to go up to the top of the stairs, and my question for you as we work on this video, right, is you got to predict what do you think the fire conditions, the smoke conditions are going to be like for this crew from the front door to the top of the stairs? Once they arrive at the top of the stairs, what's the likely fire condition there? And while that crew's operating, if I'm in a support role or I'm the IC or something like that, I also want to be aware of keeping an eye on what I think is going to happen from a fire attack perspective. How long should it be before I see the water coming? How long before I see a transition to steam and this fire largely goes out? Right, I want to be aware of that. So let's watch this video some more, and then we'll talk about it some more after. Keep that volume, velocity, density, color. Look away from the flame and see what's going on with the rest of the building. And we can see that while the aerial showed up, they did a nice job of getting this getting water on this fire, getting it largely under control. That unit's largely under control. We can also look back here and pay attention. Is there smoke still coming from this section over here? And if, as we play it through here, we can look and we see, no, there's not heavy volumes of smoke coming out the back, right? So they really got a good knock on this fire. So the smoke has changed. Still have high volumes and even some turbulence in the smoke, gently back to white. And we can go all the way back. So everybody, looks like I lost you online there for just a second, but hopefully we're back. And we're talking about this video with Spokane Fire Department. I was just about to go back and look at when was the first sign that there was fire attack underway. Now what we want to do here is, as we're watching this, we're going to see how much fire there actually is out these windows, how much smoke. The smoke over here, as soon as we start to see a decrease in that fire activity, we can be sure that that crew is up on floor 2 and making a push. I think it's pretty obvious in here as we start to see it right there. Notice that we're starting to see the steam from their water. Some water's getting out because they're probably using a straight stream or a smooth bore, and they're relatively quickly going to knock this fire down just as the aerial arrives to get positioned. And notice that even within a couple of seconds, they've done a significant amount to put that fire out. You know, right at this moment, do we still have smoke back here? Sure, but as we just saw, within the course of 10 or 15 seconds, that smoke is going to go away. All right, a couple other things we want to think about with this video. If we're this crew on the front door, right, let's go back to here where they're starting to make entry. Is there any smoke? That door's open. Is there any smoke coming out? Okay, and think about what that means as far as this fire behavior. The fire behavior at the window, right, is 100% exhaust. So with no smoke coming out on floor 1, means floor 1, that door is probably a nice dry, probably really fresh air. The crew's probably got great visibility and really ambient temperatures probably up till they get to the top of the stairs. Now, as they get to the top of the stairs, they're going to use that reading smoke again, because once they hit that landing, they're going to have a bi-directional flow, right? There's going to be fresh air going into this fire compartment and smoke coming out. So if we got up to the top of that stairs, we'd see smoke probably coming from our right off to the left, indicating the direction of the fire is the direction the smoke's coming from. I'm going to guess it's pretty low condition, maybe 3-4 feet from the ground, because they got the smoke pushing out of here all the way across and out, right? So they'd have to stay low to have good visibility, but my prediction is they'd be able to see this compartment. They know where it is from their size up, and getting that line open and get water flowing is critical, right? So let's go back, let's watch it one more time. We'll point out a couple of things at the end, and then we'll be good for today's session. I love, if you watch that line, you can see that it's moving, you can see it's advancing. One of the things I always watch for as incident commander is making sure that line is actively working. If the line gets bogged down, that usually is an indicator that you might have some trouble coming. They're definitely in there, and they're working towards that fire compartment. Up the stairs, turn right. There we are, fire attack's underway. Notice there's no smoke coming out of the eaves or the cockloft down towards the Bravo side of the building. Take a walk around, and then we'll see they really did a number on this fire in a relatively short period of time. Shows you how effective it is when you get water on there. Water makes things better. It's an old saying, but true to this day as it always has been. No smoke, no smoke coming out from this section over here. And notice there's not any smoke coming out of these windows anymore either. My prediction is they'd have a pretty easy time getting a primary search completed up there now that they've hit that fire pretty hard. And now what we're going to want to look for if we're at the IC is get some good ventilation going. And did we get any extension down along this cockloft attic space? I'd want to watch for smoke coming out. I probably have some smoke anyway, some residual light volume, very low velocity, probably white or maybe a little bit of brown in it. But if I start to see an increase, particularly in the velocity along that attic edge, the cockloft edge up there, I'd be pretty concerned. Now, is there plenty of work left to do here for the fire department? Sure, right? Not just putting the fire out, but getting the primary search done, getting it overhauled properly, putting the tarps downstairs. All that stuff still needs to be done, but the fact is we can start right at the beginning by reading smoke, knowing what's going on with the fire, what our tactics is, and then deploying those in an effective way for the citizens that we serve. Right? That's what we're all sworn to do, volunteer or paid. We're all sworn to protect the citizens of our communities to the best of our ability. And reading smoke is a skill. One thing that I would say from this video is that it's relatively quickly, this fire department, Spokane Fire Department, gets a line stretched, gets their mask on, gets up into the fire unit, and puts the fire out. Right? That sort of skill comes from practice. And the same thing with reading smoke. Reading smoke is a skill. It takes some practice, but the more you practice, the better you get. Right? And as we're going along today, I want to ask if people out there, if they have videos they'd like to suggest for us to review on either the SBSK site or the YouTube live here, we can definitely take those hints from you in the comments. If you have any questions you'd like me to address, put them in the comments. I'll get those. I'll get to those and answer all your questions and stuff. Remember, if you change on your YouTube live settings, if you change to notifications, it'll tell you when I'm doing YouTube live stuff or if I post new video there. And as each week, we'll still see you on the SBSK site. Okay, our final thoughts. Reading smoke is a skill. Skills need to be practiced. Stretching hose is a skill you have to practice. Forcing doors is a skill you have to practice. And reading smoke is a skill that we can practice either alone through watching video or together with our crew, or if you join me every week here on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to spend a little bit of time reading smoke. Feel free to reach out to me. There's my email address and my website. I am scheduling classes for 2021, and I have a lot of reschedules from 2020, as you might imagine. So the calendar's starting to get booked, but if you'd like me to be out for a full day of reading smoke, don't hesitate to reach out to me here. All right, I want to thank everybody for being here today. Thank everybody who's going to watch this on the replay. It'll be posted on the website, and it'll be there for you to use yourself or to have members of your company or your department come and check out the class. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for being here.